Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the new moon in Scorpio that happens on the 13th of November 2023. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm going to give you a rundown of this chart that you can see next to me here. That's a snapshot of the sky at the moment this new moon in Scorpio takes place. I'm going to look at how the planets interact, what energy they create amongst themselves. And the point of these horoscopes is to try and understand that energy so you can make the most of all the good things that are coming up. And this is really complicated, this new moon in Scorpio. And also become aware of the energy that you can avoid some of the negatives. So I'm a little bit nervous about making this video, to be honest, because it's a little close to home. Scorpio is very personal. It's about your feelings. It's about transformation, the things you feel most deeply. And this new moon in Scorpio, to me, is very much a dark night of the soul. So it brings up a lot of difficult things in order for you to transform them and to heal them, and to no longer be affected by them or influenced or repressed by them. So this isn't going to be the easiest new moon of the year, but I would say it's the most productive because you can finally heal from things which have kept you stuck for such a long time. It's kind of like the image I got when I was walking up here. It's kind of like, you know, when you go to the dermatologist and they cut off a mole or something, or, you know, so like a skin tag or something. They stitch up the wound, and that heals. And for, I don't know about everyone else's skin, but for me, it's like it stays really inflamed and red and purple for like a year. And then at some point, it just fades to white. And that's what I feel this is. It's really the wounds and the scars and all the difficult things that you've experienced that may have even led to you feeling somewhat cornered. You're able to revisit those, to face them, and to somehow find the strength within yourself to try again despite your past wounds and scars. So there's a sense of transcending your own pain, which is a big thing to say. And again, that's something that I think about at times. So I wouldn't say that unless I really saw this opportunity, because I don't want to give false hope. And these kind of things, you know, some of us have personal struggles. And the journey to, first of all, accept those struggles can take years and decades. And then actually saying, I am going to change this. I'm going to try again. And everything that comes along with that, you know, the fear and the getting up the motivation and overcoming yourself. It can be so challenging that you never have a breakthrough. And this is why this is a little uncomfortable for me, you know, because I've been working on myself for years and years and years. I went to see Babaji in London, and I learned how to breathe and chant, and I've read self-help books, and I meditate and I pray and I try all of these things. And I don't want to seem ungrateful because things have really improved. But there are certain areas of my life where I am still not able to overcome my own challenges. And if someone said to me, hey Greg, here's a magic wand, I'm just going to wave this wand and all your problems will go poof and disappear, I think I would resent that, because I know that that doesn't work. I've tried certain things for years and years and years. I've tried different ways of doing it for years and years. I've tried alternatives for years and years. And certain things are ongoing challenges. And that's not to say that those are always going to be there and I'll never overcome them. But on the other hand, there's something to say also for learning to accept yourself for who you are and finding a way to be happy with what you've been given. So for me, this is a very complicated topic because it brings up everything about, you know, free will. Do we have it? Do we not? We're told we do, but then you're born into this world, into this life with certain characteristics, right? That you may be able to do something about, that you may not be able to do something about. And the process of understanding that this is something I accept and this is something I should continually plow away at to alter it, that can also take years. So I'm not trying to say that this is super simple and suddenly, you know, there's a fairy that appears and says poof and everything turns wonderful. But what I'm saying is that this is a really serious opportunity to heal serious wounds and to free yourself of them once and for all. Okay, I was thinking about this, but I want to give you this example, okay, because it illustrates. So, I don't know, like maybe 9 months, a year ago. This is embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you anyway because it illustrates this. I was seeing someone, right? And one day we were together, and he kind of turned to me and he said, "Oh wow, Greg, that was really great. I'm so surprised, because usually I don't date anyone who's less than a 6 out of 10. So for him, that was a positive moment. For me, I wanted, if there had been a portal to hell that opened up at that moment, I would have taken it. I would have preferred to be there than how I felt in that moment. And you see, for some people, saying something like that they don't really think about it. And then for other people, it can really cause a lot of pain and grief at some times. And then at other times, it just slides off your back. So even with that kind of stuff, there's no rhyme or reason to it. What's going to stick and affect me negatively and what isn't? So in that case, I just closed the door for months and months and months after that. I was just like, do you know what? I've been trying to get this to work for so long. It's not working. Maybe I should just be smart about it and give up. One option, right? And then months later, it's like I'm back to square one. It's like I actually do want to have a relationship, regardless of things like that in the past that have pained me. I'm going to try again. So it's, again, that similar thing of the wound has now turned to white. The skin has adapted and it's faded into the past. So time heals wounds, and you're able to then try again. But this, God, I haven't even spoken about the placements of the planet, but this is complicated to me, and it brings up all this stuff. Don't despair if this feels difficult, if it feels like a dark night of the soul. You're not here just to be tortured. This gives you an opportunity to revisit all of those painful things and to heal them once and for all, or to find a way of rationalizing them or coming to terms with them at least, you know? And then trying again and being able to pursue the things that you want and that you could have achieved if you hadn't had these painful experiences that then stopped you dead in your tracks and caused you not to take any action. I mean, this kind of thing makes sense. You know, we don't want to always just be raked across the coals. Like, if I'm constantly having nightmares and I'm so depressed that I can't get out of bed, then some people would take something for that to help. Some people wouldn't, and they'd say, I want to go through this and feel every emotion, and no one can tell you what's right or wrong with that. And again, that's what makes this so difficult, because you're being asked to heal and transform something which is currently and actively causing you pain, which is then going to influence the way you operate. So I would say, with all of that complication, right, it makes sense to say, do you know what, hands up, I can't deal with all of this. I don't have all the answers. I've been trying to solve this. If it was so easy, I would have solved it 5 years ago, right? I am now willing to take on the guidance of the universe, the higher realms. I'm willing to listen to my own inner voice, and I am going to intend to listen to that voice 100%, and this is the important part, I'm going to trust that it's going to lead me in a positive direction. And that sentence may seem very nothing, but that's, I think, encapsulates this whole new moon in Scorpio. That sense of, it doesn't matter how arduous and torturous the past was, I trust that now I'm on a positive path and I can have a very different experience. So it's like replacing the little devil on your shoulder that says, don't try again, you're going to get hurt anyway. And a little angel appears that says, I've got something good in store for you. It's safe, it's good to try again, please do. I'm not good at trust. I'm not good at uncertainty and plodding away quietly, positively, and waiting for some sort of result that may or may not happen. So you see, all of this is going to be a little bit of I've got to kind of adjust myself so that I can move forward productively. The opposite of this, the response to this new moon in Scorpio, is to just stay in bed all day and to say, all I can see is the negative things that are piling on top of me, and I'm going to hide out and sleep, because then I won't have to feel any of this suffering. I don't know, but when I've got to that place where it's just like, I'm going to go to bed because I don't want to be conscious anymore, that's a problem. And then, you know, if you're in that position, some people are going to say, oh, you know, it's negative thinking, you need to really do something. Other people are like, oh, this is clinical, you have to go on medication. So then you start to hear a bunch of noise. Everyone's got a very strong opinion. You don't know what's going to work. They all think they have the right answer. So then you end up trying all these different things which may or may not work, and the whole process can just be like, I don't want to listen to you anymore, okay? Because you're giving me advice that doesn't work, I'm suffering, and nothing helps. Sounds fun, right? This new moon. Okay, so let's look at the actuals here. So we've got this chart, we've got the sun in Scorpio at 20 degrees. So the sun is what your conscious identity is aligned with. 20 reduces to 2 in numerology, and that's about cooperation and relationships. So that's the focus, my relationships. How do I reach out, connect with people? If that urge to connect and to speak to people or to meet someone new hasn't been there, you'll be surprised that that returns with a vengeance, and it's like, go out and explore and connect ultimately. It could also manifest as, I really have this strong sense to meditate and to connect with the higher realms, or even, could happen, that you get like a prompt to connect to the higher realms. Then we have the moon sitting right on top of the sun, also 20 degrees in Scorpio. That's why it's pitch black, right? Because they move together. The moon is kind of taking a break. It's going pitch black. It's absorbing all this Scorpio energy in order to recharge itself for the next 28-day cycle. So it gathers the Scorpio energy. And remember, Scorpio allows you to dive deep. So the fact that we're pulling all this extra energy in via a new moon means that you don't just dive to 5 meters, you dive down to 50 meters, where all of the skeletons are discarded and where the pain that still influences you on some level lives and resides. And you may think that you're free of it, but by revisiting any kind of past issues that may or may not influence your present, I think you'll be really surprised that by revisiting it, it's like, wow, I'm even freer now, or I'm free. So I don't feel very comfortable talking on this level, because I'm not the best example of someone who overcomes their problems, because I'm still dealing with stuff. There are people out there who I know who have absolutely no blemishes in their life. Everything works naturally. They're happy with their physical appearance, their bodies, work, they have a purpose, family. Some people, it all works. And for those people, this is going to be an opportunity to understand something emotionally that's going on with other people who may not be so lucky, and to develop empathy and compassion, right? That's the other interesting thing. People who've never had a problem in their life, you'd expect them to be really grateful and to feel lucky. And then often it's surprising how totally lacking in compassion they are, because it's like, well, just do it. I mean, it's easy. No understanding that that could be a challenge for someone else. But for the people who have been wounded, which I think is most of us, I think if we're honest about it, but there are levels. Some people have one area of their life that causes them pain and doesn't work. For other people, nothing works. Health and relationships and all of that. So it is a dark night of the soul, where you really get to ground zero, where all the mess is, and you can tidy that up. And then when you resurface, it's like, oh, my inner feeling has changed and shifted. Oh, that's really difficult as well, because I'm not articulate enough to express this, so I'm going to try my best. But you don't know what the ecosystem in another person is, right? Like with some countries get 300 days of sunshine a year, others get like 5 or 50 or whatever. And that's measurable, right? But with the way people feel, that's not measurable. Someone internally may feel great 95% of the time. They're full of energy and they are looking forward to things. And another person may feel happy 10% of the time. And that isn't quantifiable and treatable and manageable. Only you will know that. And the problem I have found is that I've always been very willing to listen to the experts and the people who are advising me. And I didn't feel expert myself, because I don't have any training. So how can I say this is going to work or not, right? I mean, in terms of medicine and stuff. So it's a very complicated issue. And what I feel, the big gift of this new moon in Scorpio is that things, because you do dive metaphorically 50 meters down, you get to a point where something clicks and it says, I actually am the expert when it comes to myself. I know what's good for me and I know what's not good for me. And I'm going to base my future actions on that expertise. And I'm going to try that moving forward, instead of being a candle in the wind and pushed and pulled from every different direction to try and find something that works. And even that journey is going to be very personal. I can say that I'm now listening to my inner voice because I've had years of experience, but I've also tried everything. I was a Christian Scientist for a few months. I did go to Scientology. I did go to, what was it? I tried lots of different things, okay? And I think part of that would be like, I've tried lots of things, so I've got experience and I know a little bit, so that gives me a sense of confidence. But then on the other hand, I think more significantly with this new moon in Scorpio and over the last few days, I've kind of reached this inner plateau which says, do you know what, you have been actually alive for this period of time. Listen to your own expertise and voice. It's no longer selfish or optional, it's a necessity if you want to make things better. I'm going to burst into tears in a second, I'm sorry. We've also got Mars sitting on top of this new moon in Scorpio. Mars is the male principle of drive and desire. It's at 22 degrees in Scorpio. So Mars used to rule Scorpio in the traditional chart, so it's very in its own element. But Mars in Scorpio is super intense. It wants to have intense physical experiences. It wants to have intense emotional experiences. And at 22 degrees, the master number of the builder, it wants to build something solid. I want to belong to someone. I want to get married. I want to have 8 children. I want to have a house that feels like a home. I want to belong. I want to find my own emotional root and core, and I want to check in and rent a space in that emotional harbor to dock my boat. So because Mars drives you so much to create something solid, if that doesn't work for you in your life, then that is going to be really frustrating. So like for me, okay, I'm now feeling strong enough to kind of put myself out there again and to meet other people. And then I go on the dating app and I get 0 responses and I feel like, oh my God, I got to such a place of confidence and now everything doesn't work again and I want to crumble. So it's not just like, oh, this is the problem, ping, it's gone. It's, this is the problem, welcome to the pain, walk through it. Yikes. That reminds me of if you're in hell, keep walking. That's the only option we've got, right? Ceres is also next to it at 24 degrees in Scorpio. So Ceres is wealth and abundance. And in Scorpio, it's an abundance of all your feelings. Hooray. So you will feel absolutely everything that's going on. Also, does this illuminate positives? Yeah, it does. It illuminates everything, right? So the wounds are going to come back, but also, and for the first time ever maybe, you will see your light, your skills, your expertise, all those little orbs of lights that exist in your dark. And you have to go to those dark places to see those little orbs of light. The whole system sucks, I think. It's too much work. Why can't we just have eternal sunshine in our minds? Wasn't there a show like that or a film? Yep. So this is using the bad weather to anticipate the sunshine afterwards and to prepare yourself for it. Okay, my mantra is I'm willing to do the work, even though I failed 100 million times. I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to do the work. Mercury is at 4 degrees in Sagittarius. Mercury is a communication planet. It's not conjunct to the moon because it's too far away and it's in another sign. But it still sits in that stellium, S-T-E-L-L-I-U-M, 3 or more planets gathered together in that sector. So Mercury in Sagittarius is really optimistic. And that's really, I think, part of the saving grace of this. It's just like, you know, there are hopes and dreams and light bulbs that you haven't discovered yet. And you can't buy a sense of hope. It either exists in you or not. And on this day, it will exist in you. And it's like, regardless of how much I feel I've been brutalized, I'm going to stay again. And I'm using these hyperbolic words to make a point. It doesn't all have to be so dramatic. Okay. Also, I didn't mention this, but this new moon in Scorpio, you're going to feel this over a 3-day period. So I would say the 12th, 13th, and 14th of November. And it's the weekend. So you may have some time to yourself. You'll have the confidence and courage to feel your own feelings. And when that happens, please don't feel that it's pointless. You're experiencing this process of healing. On the other side of the chart, so what opposes the moon in Scorpio is Uranus at 21 degrees in Taurus, which is great. Because Uranus is the miraculous and the unexpected. In Taurus, it's miracles in a practical sense that you can interact with, talk to, touch. And at 21 degrees, 2 and 1 is 3, communication, new beginnings. If you feel your feelings, and again, this is potentially, I'm saying something positive that could give a lot of people hope. I wouldn't, well, if you listen to what I'm saying and actually put some credit to it, which is up to you. But I really see that opportunity because Uranus at 21 degrees in Taurus says to me, if you're strong enough to feel your own feelings and to do this inner work to heal, the world is going to present you with something miraculous and unexpected and beyond your wildest dreams. So there's a payoff to doing all this work. And that, I can see how that potentially can be toxic because that's a carrot dangling in front of you and you chasing it. And feel free to disagree with me on this, but in my case, it feels better to chase some sort of illusory carrot that might turn real than to completely give up and to say nothing good is ever going to happen to me ever again. Because factually, I don't know that. I may feel very clear about that, and of course, this is how it's going to go, but I don't know that for a fact, do I? So I can't base my life on that. Oh, the other thing is, I watched on YouTube, something was recommended to me, and it was a documentary about this YouTuber who's having a really hard time. And oh my God, this documentary, the first thing that struck me is it was made by this young man, right? And the first thing I became aware of is the tone of this documentary is so cruel. I know that, and I'm sorry to betray my own gender, but what I've noticed is that 20-year-old men are not the beacons of compassion and empathy on this planet, right? So this person made this documentary on this guy who's really struggling with such a cruel angle of, and even the title was cruel, this guy is pathetic and sad or whatever. No compassion. So really I was like, oh, this is bad. Why is this guy opening himself up and being so honest to someone who's putting this cruel lens on him and this cruel eye on him, you know? And then the things he revealed in this documentary was just shocking. Like the negative outlook was just so all-encompassing. He even made the opposite of a gratitude list. He made a list of all the things that are wrong with him and why he can't be happy. At the same time, he's got a partner who's much younger than him, and they film this one scene where he talks to his girlfriend and he's like, do you know what? In the next few years, there's a real likelihood that I won't be able to make ends meet and that we're going to go on disability and that we're going to be really in financial difficulties and everything's going to be horrendous. Why on earth would you plan something negative a few years down the road? It's a slippery slope. It means you're cartwheeling straight into that pit. Even if you don't feel it, you have to act as it, or you don't have to, but I choose to pretend that like in the next month or year there's potential for growth, because there actually is, and then make plans for reaching new heights and new opportunities rather than planning for doom and despair. Of course things are going to go bad, and remember that whatever you focus on gets bigger. So if I make a list of everything that I've got going on physically, I mean, that's not going to inspire me. If I look at the things that actually do work for me, then I can build on those and expand them and spill them over into other areas, or at least that's been the approach. Yeah, so I didn't like that. I mean, it's all very well to be, to get a glimpse into someone's life, but you don't have to be like, turn your camera into a scalpel. Ugh. Jupiter is also next to, it's 12 degrees away from Uranus, so I use 10 degree orb, so it's technically not conjunct. But Jupiter is the lucky planet. It's at 9 degrees in Taurus, and it connects with the midheaven in Scorpio. So it's about the willingness to tap into your own expertise and your own solidity and to go on that. If you find yourself being really advised very strongly or even pushed in a particular direction on this day, that's a red flag to say, no, it doesn't sit right with me. I'm not doing this. I'm listening to my inner guidance. And that does take confidence, Especially if someone's pressuring you and it's like, okay, well, think about it, but don't take too long because this won't be on the table in 3 days. Let's see what else. Okay, so we've got the moon. Wow, I'm going way long today. We've got the moon forming a sesqui square with Venus at 5 degrees in Libra. So there's friction between the self and your connections with other people. I feel, and again, it's better to play it safe and to illuminate the things that are going on within you rather than to try and illuminate things within other people. I mean, most of us can barely understand ourselves. How are we going to completely and utterly understand another person? Then the moon forms a trine with Neptune at 25 degrees in Pisces, which is amazing because it puts that intuitive, emotional, detective work, amplifies it by really putting your intuition on max power, and you're really able to navigate all of these abstract inner kind of environments and places to get to a happier and more solid agreement within yourself. So you can change the inner landscape so that it's something that you're more comfortable with. And the way that then this translates is that your everyday experience is going to be different because you fundamentally feel different about yourself and in your own skin. That's also a big statement. Can we change the way we feel in our own skin? Yes, is my answer today on that. I need to listen to that as well. We also have the new moon forming a quincunx with the North Node at 23 degrees in Aries, and then Chiron at 16 degrees in Aries is next to it. So the opportunity here is to heal your pain or to escape it or to overcome it or to transcend it. So it's still there or healed, but it's no longer influential and relevant. These two don't connect to the moon, but Saturn and Black Moon Lilith oppose each other, and I think that's the pause button on your own fear. Because a lot of the times, when you're doing inner work and you face something difficult, often there's fight and flight. It's like, oh, this is too hard, let me get out of here. And on this day, you have that staying power. This is hard, difficult, I'm going to look at it until it's healed. And then Pluto also isn't connected directly to the moon, but Pluto is at 28 degrees in Capricorn. So it's really about transforming yourself in the way you appear in your life in the world. In this world. Whether you like it or not. And to reshuffle and position yourself so that you can at least operate within it. And that certain things do begin to function and that you're not constantly in pain. Okay, so let's see if there are any major aspect patterns. At the center of the chart, we have two trines that combine. If we had another one, we'd have a grand trine, but we don't. But these two trines connect the rising in Capricorn with Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, and then Jupiter in Taurus. So again, it makes you very black and white, and things that have really hurt emotionally in the past don't hurt as much. It's like an astrological paracetamol. Okay. So that's it, I think. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that's what I get for you on this new moon in Scorpio. I hope it gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. In my personal readings, I use astrology, the tarot, numerology, and my intuition. I combine all of those. And to draw up your birth chart, it looks similar to this, like it's going to be in a wheel and all the different placements everywhere. I just need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then order a chart rectification with me, please. That's a process where you send me 10 or more significant life events and I manually work out your time of birth. And that's important because the chart changes every 4 minutes. So if that's something you're interested in, please do get in touch. And if you have any questions about your life purpose or what's coming up in future, relationships, personal healing, spiritual development, anything at all, please do get in touch for a personal reading. This video, I don't know, I don't like to... Please don't feel like please don't say, oh my God, Greg, you're not a 5 out of 10 and blah, blah, blah. I don't mean to put that out there for like sympathy. I'm okay with myself, I just put that out there to like give an example of how certain relationships that are meant to like warm you and give you something can often go the other way. So please don't, that wasn't the reason. And yeah. All right. So have a wonderful day and a wonderful time during this new moon in Scorpio. Brace yourself for all these emotional truths that are coming in. I always try and manage this kind of stuff with a sense of humor. So I try and do something silly if things get too heavy and too dark night of the soul. It's when I lose my sense of humor, then I know I'm in trouble. But I haven't lost that at the moment. So thank you. I hope you have a wonderful time. If you would like a personal reading, do get in touch and I'll speak to you soon. All the best. Take care.